Today we're welcoming Rob Rene to the show. He has many aspects of wellness that he talks about. He has an amazing healing story that I'm really excited to get out to people today. I feel like it's going to be really inspiring, and people can take this and apply it to their own lives and see their own healing as well. So, welcome to the show, Rob.
Hey, I'm excited to be here. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's an honor. And like I said, I'm very curious to hear your story myself and how you got into this place and your healing journey.
Yeah, sounds good. So, man, my story's a long one because I'm getting a little older than I hate to say that, but it's pretty funny. I still feel like I'm young, but yeah, it started out when I was a youth, right? When I was a young kid, I loved athletics, but one of the things I really found that I was really good at was running. And my brother was a runner, and he was like 4 years older than I was, and I started running, and I was like, hey, I'm actually pretty good at this, and so it became a passion of mine. And one of the things that trained me really early on about health was I read a book when I was training. It's called Eat to Win. So it was like whatever you put in your body fuels your body, and that really transformed my running because I was a distance runner. So having fuel and fueling your body appropriately really made a difference. And I think most of my competition, right, they're teenagers, and they're eating pizza and hot dogs and sodas, and I'm eating very clean and healthy and putting in good fuel in my body. And then at the end of the race, I always had a kick, right? I always had that extra oomph, and I always attributed it to my just knowledge of learning how to fuel this amazing creation that God created, the body, the human body. It's so fascinating. That later on in my story, that became a really particular learning point where I'm like, I see what you're doing. Because, what I did, so that go on to the running story, I was really passionate about that. That became my goal in life. I wanted to be a professional runner. So I made the U.S. junior team, which is like the 19 years and younger. I was the second best miler in the country. And got a full ride scholarship to a Division I school to run there. And, things were just going perfect, right? Everything that I was hoping for, everything's going well. I ended up winning one of those international races. So I beat the best milers from 6 different countries, and I'm like, man, I'm on my way to being that professional runner that I wanted to be. And then lo and behold, God had different plans for me. I was out on a training run that next winter, and after making the U.S. team, and was out on a 10-mile run, and it was cold and snowy, and I was out in the middle of the backcountry road, and my friend and I were running, and my friend heard something and jumped into the ditch and yelled my name. I turned around and I saw this 4x4 truck just sliding right towards me, and I couldn't move. Just had no time to get out of the way. Just said, I'm gonna get hit, and boom, it hit me in the hip and threw me 36 feet, and I landed straight on my face and then my knees. And when I landed, it knocked me out. So I'm, knocked out cold on the side of the road, ice and snow all around, and I had a bloody nose from a earlier in the run that was really cold and dry. In Utah, this is where it was, and so my throat got clogged while I'm laying on the ground. So now I wasn't able to breathe. So really, really bad situation, right? I'm unconscious. I'm not breathing, and a few minutes later, I probably would have died if it wasn't for my friend to realize I was in that dire situation. Knew that I had the bloody nose earlier, so he was trying to see what was happening with my body, and he could tell I wasn't breathing, so I unclogged my throat. So he literally saved my life that day, and when the paramedics came and woke me up. Finally, it took them a long time to get there. When they woke me up with the smelling salts, it was like, what the heck is going on? And I was just, ever since that accident, I've known God has a plan for my life. So it's just such a crazy thing because, I really had a difficult time from that period for, probably half a dozen years of just trying to figure out what's next, even though I wasn't able to recover from a running perspective, and my whole life and mission at that point was running. So I'd lost my entire passion. Everything I was passionate about was just gone. And so, I had to relearn what the next step was. So that was kind of the beginning. And then, I went through the corporate world. I kind of did what the world tells you to do, right? The world tells you to go get a college degree, go get a good job at a big company, get your 401k or your pension plan, and have a wife and 3 kids and a white picket fence and a dog. And, I did what the world told me to do. And, I was successful at that. But then, boom, the second truck hit me. And it wasn't a physical truck this time. It was the same truck that hit you, Anthony. It was the pandemic, right? When the pandemic hit, it had that same effect on my life that the first one did. So here I am, have this successful sales career and a successful life, and all of a sudden, boom, it gets all swiped out from underneath me because I'm in the middle of Utah, or I'm sorry, I'm in the middle of Oregon at this time. So I had to travel to do my job. So obviously we couldn't travel. So they ended up downsizing the company, and I was part of that. So first time in my life, I'm like, okay, now second time in my life, I guess, the respect that my life just got upended. And that's when it began. That's when my health journey kind of began, was from that. So that kind of takes you from the beginning all the way up until just maybe 5 years ago when I really woke up to the health problem in our country and even in our world. And so, yeah, that's the background.
That's incredible. I mean, I definitely can relate to that in a sense because, like, I had Lyme disease for 6 years,
Oh,
and
wow. Yeah.
I was really left with a decision. I can either be a victim and listen to the things that are around me that say I can't get well, or I can listen to my heart and understand there's a higher calling for my life, right?
Awesome.
And
Yeah.
listen to that. So, man, that's just an excellent story. And you said like the pandemic. Yeah, I feel like that was a wake up call for a lot of us in many different
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I definitely can see that because for me, that was an instance where things really got to be taken to the next level in terms of health because that was like where we saw everybody just get super sick and
Yeah.
filled with fear. So
Yeah, and
yeah,
that was the thing. It's like it was such an interesting point in time because early on, right when it was first happening, we all didn't have any clue what was going on. So my
right.
first thought was, what the heck is happening and why is it happening? And then, back to that nutrition story, I that became so important to my life because of that. I saw what really woke me up to what was going on in the world was I saw them vilifying this doctor, and he was just recommending vitamin D, and I'm like, wow. I said, man, vitamin D must be really bad for you, but I'm like, that's weird. And
Isn't that
like,
from the sun?
yeah, maybe this doctor is just a really bad doctor. So I was fascinated. I'm like, let's go research. And this is a skill set that I've learned since the pandemic that's been such an amazing part of my life now is just the ability to do my own thinking and my own research and not rely on what other people are telling me, and that because of what I discovered. So anyway, let's finish that vitamin D story. So I started digging into vitamin D. I'm like, okay, I know vitamin D comes from the sun. It's a natural occurrence in our bodies, but why would a supplement of vitamin D be bad? So I did a research on that. It's like, okay, vitamin D is fine. It's 100% harmless. It's like, it can be overused or it could be abused maybe, but it's like very, very basic element and not a problem. So I'm like, okay, so vitamin D is not bad. This doctor must be really bad. If they're suing this guy for $1 billion, he must be a really bad dude. And so I did research on the doctor. The doctor research was like, he's fine. I mean, he's a holistic practitioner, really trying to help people, to spend his life dedicated to helping others. I was like, okay, something's wrong. There's got to be a problem. Why would they be vilifying him? Why would they be going after him? And that's when I started doing research about the problem in I call it the medical cartel. It's just like literally this consortium of really large organizations who control our world, to be honest. And I don't say that lightly. I say that in a really meaningful way, in the respect that the more research I did, and how they took over our healthcare system in the early 1900s. And wow, when you start researching that and you understand how that happened, and then you see what became of that, that's why we have such a messed up healthcare system in the United States. I mean, we spend more money than any other country in the world, and we have the worst healthcare system in the world. That's got to be a indication to you or anybody that there's a problem, right? There's something missing. And when you start uncovering that, it's literally just about the dollar, right?
Yeah.
It's about money. And that when you find that out, it's like super duper frustrating when you dig into it, because the most of the people, like doctors and healthcare practitioners and nurses, they're good people, right? They got into that practice to try to help people, but the system is so messed up. And then there are some really really evil people who've done some bad things, who just turned us into a pill for an ill society rather than treating the body as a whole and helping you fix the core of the problem, not just the symptom. And man, we're just, I was probably the worst advocate of this. Is like, hey, when I had a problem, a pain or an ache, it's like I went to the doctor and said, hey, what pill can you to take to fix this right away? Because I'm busy. I got to go, do whatever I need to do. And so, I would take whatever they gave me. And but boy, now that what I've learned is just fascinating, because I can, that turned me into this person that said, okay, instead of just me living in the world and just hanging out and trying to build a successful career and just not worrying about anybody else, it really turned me into an introspective person. Like, how can I help my family first, and then how can I help others? And during that time, I became much more spiritual too, because I was doing research on topics, and one of them was the Bible. And so I literally did a ton of research on the Bible. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been a Christian for most of my life, but I'd never really acted as a faithful person. And so that transitioned dramatically as well, where I really feel, I read the Bible every day, and I really believe I have a personal relationship with God. And so that became, those two components have become just core to who I am as an individual. I'm here to help other people, and I'm here, I call myself a faith and health warrior, because I want to help people with their faith, but really I want to help them with their health first, because if you're healthy, then you can have an impact on this world, right? We have a lot of people that are hurting in this world. We have a lot of people that are unhealthy, and if we can get them healthy, then they're going to feel well, and they're going to go do positive things for our world. So that's the impact I'm trying to make.
Absolutely, man. I love that. I mean, like you said, we kind of live in this pill for an ill society where it's almost like this programming, like just from when we were kids, like anytime there's a problem, where's the pill, right? Instead of
Yeah,
like, what can I do? Or maybe this is just a thing that'll last a day, right? Instead of
right.
like listening to your body. So I feel
Yeah,
like that was a really good insight. And
yeah. We're,
you,
we're programmed from the young age to go to the white coat, right? We got to go talk to the white coat, and the white coat is going to tell us what to do. And that white coat's going to give us something for us to fix it. Instead of us, like you said, man, we need to learn our own bodies. We need to listen to our own bodies. And then we need to do our own research on how to help ourselves. And then you want to get specialists, that's fine, but you can go there, but you need to understand the whole body as a holistic thing. It's not just a heart problem you have. It's not just a liver problem you have. It's not just Lyme disease, right? You got it, but you have to look at the whole body as a whole of how you're going to then fix the problem that has happened, right? So it's just fascinating, and our body is so complex. God made this temple so amazing that if you can do the right things and you can feed it the right things, it will actually do what it's designed to do, which is, guess what? Heal itself, right? It's like so flippin' amazing, and we've just done a really bad job as a healthcare society of getting back to what God gave us. And then if we can do that and get the right nutrients in the right way and the right order, then things are going to start working the way they're designed to work. It's just fascinating. So it's been fun to go through this journey and really working and trying to help people through this journey. So it's been fascinating.
absolutely, man. I believe that you were referring to the Flexner report earlier. Is that right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So I usually mention that because that Flexner report is so important, because the way my research I did is they use that. The Flexner report has some good information in it, but they use that in such a nefarious way, right? The Rockefellers took that and said, okay, we're going to create our own medical schools, and we're going to at least take over the medical schools. And then when you become a doctor, you can only get a degree if you go to our medical schools. And then we're only going to teach pharmaceutical-based medication. And then they vilified all of the holistic practitioners. So if you were a holistic practitioner, not part of their program, they were vilifying you. There was 50% of our practitioners back in the early 1900s were holistic practitioners. Now what that percentage is like 0.01%, right, are holistic practitioners. So they've done just a fantastic job of saying, if you want to be in the healthcare world, you have to go to this medical school. And then guess what? In that medical school, guess how much nutrition training a doctor gets in the 12 or 15 years of schooling they do. It's a lot of schooling, and they get maybe one class on nutrition. That whole period, right? And that's that's probably being generous if they get that much. So it's just really sad that they're not treating the whole body as a whole. And we just need to get back to that. So I'm having a blast because I think the whole Maha movement is super exciting, and we're finally getting some visibility into the corruption that's happened in the healthcare world. The evil people is what I call them, and it's exposing. It's finally people are becoming more aware of it. I think COVID was ridiculously bad, but it also just kind of helped wake people up to a problem. It woke me up. It literally took COVID for me to understand this issue. So I guess I'm thankful for that, because now I understand how the body works and how our healthcare system is made up, and I have this skill set that I don't. My wife gets really mad at me. She'll come up, tell me something, and I won't believe it. Right? And I don't mean to be rude to her, but I'm just like, okay, great. But then I'm going to go research myself. Right? I'm going to go find the things, and because I was such a sucker. I was the same person that most of us are, where we hear something on the radio, we hear it, we read it in the newspaper, and then we see it on our social media feed. You see it the same thing 5 different ways. You assume it's true, and they're so good at information control. They literally have this mockingbird media. Have you ever heard of mockingbird media, Anthony?
I believe I have, yes.
Yeah, and it's just a system back. The CIA actually created where they implant the people into the large media organizations, and they give them 4 a.m. talking points. So here's at 4 a.m. This is the talking points for the day. So you had to, as part of your job, make sure your organization did some type of article about that particular thing. And you had to say certain components. You hear it 5 different ways, but it's basically the same concept. But you hear it, you just assume it's true, and it's literally incredibly well done information control. And so it's like, wow, when you see that that's actually happened to us. I thought we were the freest country and we had the most open information in the world, and best journalist in the world, and then to come and find out that, oh my gosh, most of our information is actually programmed for us to believe whatever narrative they want to push on us, and they're so darn good at it. But once you see it, you can't unsee it, and then you're like, okay, I'm not going to believe anything anybody tells me until I go do my own research. But then you start finding, you look at both sides, and then you can make up your own decision on what that where you fit on that particular topic. And so it's been fascinating. I'm having a blast just trying to learn how to help other people in a way that just provides value to them, because I think that's my job on earth, is to say, there's lots of people who, my first product was a pain relief product, and that I was working on, and the research I did on pain, it was just horrible. Like 50% of our seniors are on up to 12 different prescription medications in one year. So you think about that, they go get a prescription medication for, let's say it's their liver, and they're like, okay, my liver's getting better, but guess what? You take that one prescription medication and it causes a kidney problem. And then you go see the kidney specialist. Kidney specialist says, oh, here, you need to take this pill. So you go, oh, okay, I'll take that pill. Now you're on 2 pills. And then guess what? That causes something in your heart. Then you go see the heart specialist. The heart specialist says, "Oh, you need to take this pill." Now you're on 3. So it's just a cycle that people are going on in, and pain is one of the big issues that people have. So I'm like, how can I help the world? I created a podcast called I Am Pain Free, and I interview holistic practitioners and doctors of how they help people with pain. And it's been so fascinating to see how this body is created and how you help people in a natural way. And so I've dedicated my life to trying to create solutions and just do awareness like we're doing today, right? Of how our system is kind of, hijacked. But there are so many people who care and love about you and about the human body that we can help you get well. And so I'm creating solutions with my company. We're creating some amazing products to help people naturally. But we're also, just trying to create a community of people who can work together to just help people, because that's really what needs to happen. There's so many people that are just unwell. They're heavy, right? We're heavy set. We're just our food supply's messed up, our water supply's messed up, our air is messed up. So it's like it takes real effort nowadays to be healthy. And that's why I want to teach people. There's some simple things you can do that are free, right? That you should start doing. And then when you start doing that, you're going to start feeling a little bit better. And you're going to say, hey, that guy actually has some good ideas. So maybe I'll look more into what he's doing and how he's trying to help people. So that's what I'm super passionate about right now.
Absolutely. Thank God, man. I mean, something that you've been talking about is like this skill of research. I feel that's so important because, like you said, a lot of us, we just blindly listen to things. I mean, they're like, there's this concept of a sheepdog, right? Are you familiar with that?
I believe so. Go ahead. I'd love to.
Yeah. So basically, farmers, when they have sheep, they usually have sheepdogs, and
Right.
they're designed to protect the sheep, right,
Right.
from the wolves.
Yeah.
And essentially, you want to be a sheepdog, right? So you can not only like see through the illusion, but actually be on the frequency of truth, which is highest frequency.
Amen.
And to me, it's a blast as well because you're just learning and growing every single day,
Yeah.
and you really kind of it's a discovery process, and
It
it's
is.
really fun.
It's fascinating. It really is. When you start learning about it, it's like there's so many things that we can do, and this body is so cool. It's like we're still figuring it out, right? I don't care. Even the most sophisticated scientists still haven't figured out the human body. We know a heck of a lot about it, there's still this frequency medicine and frequency, or quantum energy, how our body can actually communicate and give off intentions and react to frequencies, and that stuff that people are just like didn't understand a few decades ago, and they're starting to understand there's more to these bodies rather than just the physical inside and the DNA within the body. Our body reacts to a lot of different external environments and external things, and our mind is so powerful. There's so much research on the mind and how it works, and how it can control your body just by doing thought. Prayer. I'm a faithful person, and praying, it literally can have a physical impact on external things. And I was one of the first people that would say, you're crazy, if somebody told me that, right? I'm like, come on, that cannot happen. But then you start researching like Dr. Emoto and his studies that he did, and it's so fascinating with how he did the water studies, where he literally, one of the ones was on intentions and prayer, and they had 500 people praying over a bottle of water, and that bottle of water, structure of that water changed. And this was like, that is so interesting and so amazing that and then you look at his rice studies, and it's like, wow, that's really interesting stuff. And then you find out, one of the things that I was researching was the human body, because when people told me about frequency medicine, I didn't believe it. And so I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. And then started doing my research, right? So I'm like, okay, how could a frequency impact the human body? And then I started learning that the human body is made up of energy. And then even down to our cellular level, our cells interact with each other with vibrations. And those vibrations give off, guess what? A frequency. So it's so fascinating that frequency was a weird word to me early on because I didn't understand it. but frequencies are everywhere, right? Light is a frequency, color is a frequency, sound is a frequency, and you start learning about frequencies, and then you realize that, oh my gosh, it can have an impact on the human body. Researching Dr. Emoto's stuff, and you then frequency medicine doesn't become this woo-woo weird thing. It becomes real. It's like, oh my gosh, I can create positive frequencies for my particular problem, and I can impact my body with that. And that was fascinating too. So I've been down this road, just understanding the human body, understanding how things are working, and then how am I going to create solutions to help people. So it's been fun.
Definitely. Uh, do you recommend any strategies for people to start to begin to think for themselves? Because along those same lines, it's like we do have a lot of information out there, and there's various information, there's neutral information, and it's beneficial, right? So it's like, how can we actually discern what is real and what isn't?
Yeah, and that is a hard process, because when you first start looking at it, you're used to your normal sources, right? You're used to good old Google, doing a Google search and looking for something. But man, when you do your research, you'll find out that Google's just feeding you information that they want to give to you, not necessarily the information you're looking for, and so that's frustrating. So then you have to start realizing, okay, you can't use Google to search for things, because Google's going to just feed you the narrative, which is bizarre. It's like, what? Is that possible? I thought, it's like, so then you have to find a search engine that's not censored. And then you can go in and start finding uncensored information. And then you end up, after you do this process for a while, you start finding these resources of people that you can trust, right? And I didn't trust anybody early on, but I would take some information that was like, okay, that sounds interesting. I'm not sure if this person is wacko or if they have really good information, right? And then you listen to the other side of the argument, say, okay, let's listen to that, and then you discern whether, okay, and then through this process of taking information from both sides and then learning how to discern information for yourself. When you look at both of those, you say, okay, here's the information from here, here's the information from here. What's their motivations behind what each one of them is doing? Is this guy here just to make money? Is this guy here just to control you? What's the motivation behind the information that they're giving you, right? Because that's important too. So when you find really good resources that you believe there are no intentions behind the information they're giving you, it's just good information to help you, then you start taking that and say, okay, here's kind of one of my sources of truth, and here's my source of truth, and here's my source of truth. And then you take the new information you're getting and says that counteracts with those, and you're like, okay, well, I'm not going to believe that because it doesn't fit within what I believe is kind of the truth. And we all do that naturally as humans, but the problem is we're so busy. We have this life that is literally designed to be busy, and you don't have time to think and research, and so you just assume, right? You drive to work, you hear it on the radio. You come home, you read it in the newspaper. The olden days you used to actually read a physical newspaper, right? But now you take your phone and you scroll up and you're reading your news feed. And that information is coming into your brain, and literally you hear it 3 or 4 times. Your brain assumes that is the truth. So that's your source of truth. Is just all this agenda that's been put on your mind. So you have to literally kind of unplug from that those sources of information and say, okay, I'm not going to listen to the news media, because the news media is 100% controlled. And then you start looking at different people that you can trust. You're like, okay, I will go research that information from that person. So it's an iterative process, but it is something that can be done, and I highly recommend it. And you'll find the sources of truth for you, things that you believe in and that you like. And then I am a very faithful person, so I take a lot of stuff to the Lord as well. Like literally, I'll pray about situations and information that I'm given and say, help me understand whether or not this is true, and or where should I find information to help me validate this. And I'll end up finding stuff that I never thought I would, just through that process. So it's been a lot of fun. One of them was creating this product of ours, Exodus, was I was researching all the ingredients in the Bible. I'm like, okay, it's fascinating how many herbs and superfoods are in the Bible. And I come from this belief now that our body is this temple, and it does. And all these doctors that I'm meeting with tell me that the nutrition that you put in your body and how your gut works helps you heal. So I'm like, okay, this is fascinating. So I'm like, let's go to the source, right? The Bible's in here. Let's look at all the ingredients. So I was researching and trying to find some combination that was just maybe that nobody had ever come up with. And I was praying about it. I was looking for solutions, and I found some amazing herbs, but I couldn't find anything that wasn't already out there, right? There's already, frankincense on the market. There's already saffron on the market. There's wheatgrass on the market. And I'm just like, this is great. Those are good, but I want to find something that's really going to help people. And then, gosh, the Lord is so amazing. He led me to this practitioner who had this molecular hydrogen blend, and he was fascinated with my research, with what I was doing with the biblical ingredients, and he wanted to market his hydrogen in a biblical way. And I'm like, I've got the biblical ingredients, and so he was teaching me more about what hydrogen does and how it helps the human body, and it was so fascinating. So I just said, let's take the best 7 ingredients that complement the hydrogen, and so we're going to make this effective. The hydrogen is going to be way more effective by using these ingredients, and the ingredients themselves will be much more effective because of the hydrogen. So the combination of what we created is it's so fun because it's helping people in a really tangible way, and it's such a natural product. It's Exodus is the name of the product, and it's got 7 biblical herbs. They're organic barley grass and wheatgrass will give you the nutrients. And most people are nutrient deficient these days because of the food that we're eating. And then it's got saffron. So saffron's awesome for your mood control. So people are totally anxious now, and the anxiety is going through the roof.
Yeah.
Suicide is really bad problem in our society, and so saffron's super good for you. And then we got aloe, cumin, frankincense, and myrrh. Aloe is really good for a lot of health benefits, really good to the gut. And then cumin, frankincense, and myrrh are really good with inflammation. And so it just helps the inflammation response. So your body helps reduce that. And then guess what? When your body's not inflamed, a lot of issues that you have in your body start resolving themselves. But the cool thing is that molecular hydrogen blend, and this is the thing that's so amazing for people, is all of you probably have heard of the new hydrogen water bottles, or even the hydrogen pills you can put in water and it creates hydrogen and you got to drink it really fast. The cool thing about our product, it's just a capsule, right? So we've got this looks like a supplement. It's way more than a supplement. It's so cool. You put it into your body, and then when it interacts with your bodily fluid in your stomach creates the hydrogen. So when your body creates it, your body assimilates it much more effective than if you're drinking it from an external source. Like the water bottles, for example, you'll hit the button, it creates hydrogen in the water, and then you have to drink it immediately. If you don't drink it immediately, it's going to be diffused, and you're not going to get anything. You're just going to have water, and it's going to not have any health effect if you don't drink it right away. Even if you do drink it right away, it's still got to go under your esophagus, into your stomach, and then be assimilated. And ours is already your body's creating it. So since your body creates it, it assimilates it much more effective. So it's just really fun. So we have way better delivery mechanism to get hydrogen in the body. And then I found it fascinating, the research studies that have been done on hydrogen already. There's thousands of them. So you can go to hydrogenstudies.com or molecularhydrogenstudies.com. And there's just thousands of studies that have been done on it. So we've got the best delivery mechanism for hydrogen, and bar none. And we add really awesome ingredients, the biblical ingredients on top of it. So you get the combination of the two. And I have a product that is amazing for people that are tired, right? Most people today, about 2:00 in the afternoon, they get tired. They need to go buy that second cup of coffee, or need that, drink that Coke, or need to do something to have that extra boost. And in the afternoon or in the evening, they're just exhausted. And this product is so cool because it gives you sustained energy. You don't have these crashes. You don't have to do caffeine. I have a heart condition called bradycardia. I literally just fixed it. But the problem with my bradycardia is that my heart beats really slow. So about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I would get exhausted every single day, and I'd have to go take a nap. It was like so frustrating. I'm like, come on, I'm not that old. I shouldn't have to go take a nap. This is stupid. And but I just was exhausted. So when I started taking Exodus, I don't have that feeling. I don't get exhausted, even though I'm maybe not have got a great night of sleep. I don't get this crash up and down. It gives me sustained energy and helps me recover from all my athletic stuff that I do. I love to run and lift weights and helps me recover. So it's just a really cool product. And I'm just stoked to get it out to the world because I know it's going to help a ton of people.
Excellent, man. I mean, hydrogen, it kind of acts like as an adaptogen, right? Which is
Yeah.
basically something that gives you whatever you need at the time.
Yeah.
Like an adaptogen is really designed to balance the body, make you more stress resilient, and like you need more energy, it will give you more energy. But if you need to calm down a little bit, it will do that. And this is not just hearsay, this is proven over and over again, isn't that right?
It is. Yeah, it's fascinating that you know that because you're so spot on. And that we talk about with Exodus, maybe energy because most people can relate to that. But it's so fun when you do the research on hydrogen. It acts as a master antioxidant. You're like, what the heck is a master antioxidant, right? So let you break it down. You say, and then an antioxidant just gets rid of stuff in your bloodstream, but you don't want to get rid of the good stuff in your bloodstream. You only want to get rid of the bad stuff. So the cool thing about hydrogen, it literally acts as a master one. So it goes and it says, okay, this free radical here, it shouldn't be here. So I'm going to attach myself to it and I'm going to get rid of it. And then it goes to a good mitochondrial cell and it says, I'm going to help you because you're a good mitochondrial process. So I'm going to help that. And so it makes that mitochondrial process better and more efficient for the good one. So it helps the good and gets rid of the bad. So it's just so fascinating that the smallest molecule that God created on this earth, hydrogen, we're able to utilize in a modern way to get it into your bloodstream. And then, like you said, the adaptogen thing is a fantastic way to describe it because your body's going to tell you what it needs, and this system will help. The hydrogen is going to say, okay, this you need this, right? This person needs this, and hydrogen is going to adapt, and that's why we wanted to add those biblical ingredients because we know most people are nutrient deficient. So let's give them nutrients, and then we know a lot of people are stressed out. Let's give them a little bit of a anti-anxiety component, right? And things that are helpful. And then inflammation is with all of my year and a half of doing my podcast. Most doctors will say that inflammation is the source of all disease. And that sucks, right? Because no one wants to get a disease,
Yeah.
but it all starts with inflammation. So if you can get rid of the inflammation, guess what? Your body's going to be healthy. So it's just one of those products that you just can't describe all the benefits because there are too many. And then people get overwhelmed and they don't believe you. They're like, "Oh, come on, you can't do all that for me." But it's fun to work with people and get them on it, and they start taking it, and they're like, "Hey, now I no longer have this problem," and they didn't even realize that it had helped them with that. So it's really really fun.
Yeah, hydrogen is probably like the best thing in terms of supplement wise for inflammation and oxidative stress. So you find that as well?
Yes, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. That's the main. Those are the main components of what hydrogen does. But it's just so hard to explain that. You say oxidative stress to somebody, and they're like, what the heck is that, right? So that's
Yeah.
why we just try to say it's going to help you with your energy levels, right? And when we do that, underneath the covers is exactly right, right? It helps with that master antioxidant, the adaptogen that adapts to what you need, and it's just fascinating, right?
Yeah. There's one thing I wanted to mention when you were talking about thinking for yourself. So I thought that was great advice. I've talked about that many times on the show. And
Awesome.
there's a search engine, Brave. That's what I recommend for people. That's
Ah,
that's
awesome. Good
that's the
job. Yeah.
best. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
I'm mentioning that.
totally agree with that. I used to do DuckDuckGo, right? But then you find out later that DuckDuckGo was purchased and is also compromised. You're like, come on, so it gets so hard to find information. So another kind of fun source that just got released is Brideon.ai. So Brideon just released a new AI that is trained on all of the all natural health libraries data. And so he's this Mike Adams has been doing research on nutrients and helpful ingredients for decades. And then he has the truth about cancer, all their content in his AI engine. And so it's probably the only unwoke or non-woke or whatever you want to say search engine or AI engine in the market. So if you want to go find something that's kind of unbiased, go research at Brighteon.ai. That's going to help you a lot because I love AI. I'm fascinated with AI, how it really can help people be efficient and find things. But all that AI is trained on all that false information that you get. And it's when I'm learning with this medical cartel that I called it earlier, a lot of the research reports are bought and paid for. Right? The scientists are bought and paid for. And so they create all these amazing research reports and all this detailed analysis, but that analysis literally had an agenda behind it. They wanted it to come out with this result. So guess what? It comes out with that result, even though it may not have literally been the case. So there's a lot of just bad information out there. So you have to be really discerning.
That's awesome, man. I wasn't aware of that. I've that same story of DuckDuckGo, so that's kind of funny.
No, I thought that was like the great thing, right? But then you're like, dang it. So Brave is like, yeah, one of the only ones right now where it's not near as censored. So it's a great way to find information. Well done.
Absolutely. You talk about overcoming adversity a lot. And of course, you mentioned that a lot again with your story, but we all go through challenges in our lives, right? It doesn't have to be this massive thing, but just a day-to-day thing. What do you recommend to like become more resilient and how we can all overcome obstacles and face adversity in our own lives?
Yeah, that's an awesome question, and I like to answer it this way. When you woke up today, do you have breath in your lungs? Yeah, when you woke up, you were breathing, right? So guess what? Since you're breathing today, God has a plan for you. If God has a plan for you, you can do anything. And there's a reason why you're on this planet, right? And so most people get frustrated with life because they're like, I don't know what my purpose is, or all these things are going bad, and life is always going to have ups and downs. God, and unfortunately, even no matter if you're the best Christian in the world, unless you're Jesus, right? He's the only one who was spotless, but all of us are sinners. So, and we're all going to have problems. That's just life. So when you realize that, hey, we're all going to have issues and problems. So that's not my problems and other people's problems. You don't know what other people are dealing with. They're probably dealing with something very similar and or worse than you are. So it's just like we're all in this world together. But if God has a plan for you, then guess what? Then you got to go understand what that plan is. And when you start figuring that out, then you feel like you're in your purpose. And then when you're in your purpose, there's nothing can stop you from going forward. And that's why I'm having so much fun now. I think finally in the last 5 years, I've found my purpose, and I want to help people, and I want to do it in a dramatic way, right? I want to build a big kingdom business, not because I want to build a big kingdom business. Literally, 100%. It's not why. I want to build a kingdom business so I can have a big impact on this world. If I'm sitting on my couch watching Netflix all day long, or flipping through my TikTok stream and not doing anything, not being a productive person in society, I'm not helping anybody. And I'm not doing anything. So my thing is, yeah, we're all going to have adversity. But since you have breath in your lungs today, God has a plan for you, and you can become better. And it may take time, but you can every day make little steps and get well. And so if you don't mind me jumping to a real quick thing, I like to say there's 4 things that you can do that are 100% free for your health that I recommend everybody do. And I think it's just important because I just want to leave you with this little nugget that's something you can do for free. Because some people get so frustrated, like, I spend so much money on this and I do this and just nothing's working. But if you do these 4 things, actually there's 5 of them, but if you do them and it's going to help you in a really dramatic way, then you're going to say, that's interesting. I didn't know I could do that. And then you're going to say, maybe I should listen to more what this guy said. And then, I think you'll look at Exodus and say, I want to try that Exodus because what he just told me that I did for free, actually help me. So the first one's super simple. It's water, right? People are just dehydrated today. They're not drinking enough water. You need to drink half of your body weight in ounces. So if you're a 200-pound person like me, you need 100 ounces of water every day. It needs to be good filtered water, not the junk that comes in our taps, right? We need to get filtered water. But water, super important. So do that. But then the second one is that thing I mentioned earlier, the sun. Vitamin D, so important. Get some vitamin D on your body. If you go out in the first 45 minutes of the day, it's called blue light. So there's no UV rays on it, and it's just really fantastic for your body's energy system. Sun and vitamin D is super duper important to your body. And I combine three things when I do my sunlight in the morning. So that's the first one, water. Second one is sun. The third one is totally related to that. Outside is you take your socks and shoes off and you get your feet on the ground, right? This grounding is like 100% free and it's natural, and you get your feet on God's given earth and it discharges the negative energy and recharges you with good energy. And it's like, when people told me that, I thought they were nuts. I'm like, my wife, I have really sensitive feet. So grounding pissed me off because I'm like, I don't want to put my feet on the ground. She's like, no, just do it. And then I did research on how awesome it is for your body. Now I do it every day, right? So like, okay, I'm out there, but you can do that for free, right? So there's three of them: water, easy; sun, easy; and then grounding, easy. So there's three things. And then the fourth one that you can do while you're doing that sun and grounding is breathing techniques. 100% free. But guess what? If you look at the research on the breathing techniques, it can add 7 years to your life if you do this breathing techniques. So they're like, what? How is that possible? I promise you, it's not me telling you that. Go do some research on it. There's Wim Hof has some really easy ways to just look at WIMHOFF. Really super easy to go search him out and find his. He's got free programs to just teach you how to do it. You can even, don't Google it, Brave it. Go do a search on Brave and find Wim Hof, and he just teach you these small techniques. It's breathing deep, and then you hold, and then you breathe out, and you do it for a 7-minute period, and it just changes you. You can even pass out because you've gotten so much oxygen that your body's not used to it in a short period of time. So, but you combine, so there's 4 of them, right? And it's super, super easy to do those 4 things. It's free. You can breathe, right? Everyone can breathe, I hope, right? If you're not, there's something wrong. You should go see a doctor. But then if you do the grounding and the sun and then water, those 4 things are 100% free. And if you start doing that every day for this next week, you're going to be really, really surprised at how well you start feeling. And then just making sure the nutrients, right? The 5th one is probably the most important thing, is what you're actually putting in your body. You are what you eat. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You become what you eat. And your body processes everything that you put in your body, and then it fuels your body. And so you can either feed your body with what it needs and get the good nutrients, or you can feed it with the crap that we have done. And I 100% get it, because I was the worst at this. I would just, for decades, I ate whatever I wanted. I didn't do a specific diet, and I was really unhealthy. And now I'm very healthy, and now I know why. And I've done all this research and understanding of different diets and what's good for what and what's good for others. And it's just what, at the end of the day, you have to get X number of nutrients in the day for your body to operate what it needs. And then you can do really fun things with biohacking. You can get your blood results, and you can go look and say, oh, I'm deficient in this. And then you got to figure out a way to get your body to not be deficient in that. Maybe supplementation, or it may be just eating more beets, for example, whatever you're deficient in. But it's becoming fascinating, and I'm having a blast helping people doing that.
100%. I love that, man. I mean, I do so many things for my health, like the biohacking and all that. The number one thing I say I do to people is spend time in nature. Get sunlight, earthing, fresh air, and get your mind right out in nature. That's the number one thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So your number one thing, does three of the things I talked about, right? Yeah, exactly. It's so amazing.
Because all these biohacks, they're great, but a lot of them, they kind of mimic what we're naturally supposed to be getting, right? Like photobiomodulation or infrared light therapy. It's kind of like a light supplement, right?
Yeah, right.
It's not a replacement for the sun. The sun is the most important foundation.
That's right. That's right. Yep, 100%. But most people are like they're in a glass cage, or I guess a brick cage for all day long. They're working, and so maybe they need to go get some red light to help them with it. And or if you're in the Northwest when it's always cloudy, you need to go get one of those blue light ones that helps you with your mood because you never see the sun. But yeah, I love that. I
100%.
love that you do that. Fun stuff.
To circle back around, there was a point I meant to I mention. So you're talking about the wokeness in AI. That's what's like. That's what people don't get. A lot of it is trained off of, I mean, us, right? So we gotta be careful for that. And Brave, it has a browser as well. And then for email, Proton Mail. Like those are the three things. Like for people to kind of like have like a freedom digitally.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I like that a lot. And I'm getting now into some of the crypto things too, just because the blockchain you can't control, right? Which is so fascinating. So, I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff on the blockchain with health because nobody can control that. And if you get it out into the blockchain in a secure way, then they can't change it. They can't control it. It's fascinating that
Yeah.
what we can do, now that we couldn't have done earlier. So I love technology. So I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm gonna learn how to do this. And I'm gonna learn how to help people in a really dramatic way just by doing things like the blockchain, right? And that's
Yeah.
gonna be a lot of fun. I'm actually changing my podcast to biohackingville, and so because I really believe that there's biohacking is super amazing, and there's communities within the biohacking world, and there's lots of them. There's lots of different sub communities, and I want to put together this kind of community that talks about faith as part of one of the pillars. But it's only one of the pillars, right? There's going to be pillars on red light therapy. There's going to be pillars on nutrition. There's going to be pillars on cancer treatments. There's going to be pillars on ways to really help people in a dramatic way. And so this neighborhood of all, a collection of all these biohacking specialties that's going to be uncensored, right? It's going to be really good information. It's going to have a great way for people to find information. So we're creating this really fun community site that's going to go along with the podcast. And it's going to be just super, super exciting.
Awesome, man. Lastly, I wanted to mention, how do you recommend people find their purpose in life? Because we kind of are led astray a lot, but how can we actually find that mission that we're called to do and really live on purpose every single day?
Yeah, for me, right? This is me coming from my position. I had to find the Lord first, and when I have that relationship with Him, I literally said, "What am I? Why am I here? What am I doing?" And I said, reading the Bible every day was transformational for me. Proverbs is one tip I can give people that's super easy. Maybe takes you 10 minutes a day. Just read the book of Proverbs. There's 30 or 31 of them. So you can go every single day. Just say, if it's the first day of the month, read Proverbs 1. Second day of the month, read Proverbs 2. And then you just start looking at those proverbs, and it comes from Solomon, was the wisest and richest man in the Bible, in the world, and he just was an incredible man. And when you start looking at his teachings, it's stuff that you can really relate to today. But I love the Bible because it's a living word. So not you're reading this something that's about maybe a historical fact and a historical figure, but the topics apply to you today. And since it's a living word, your mind is reading that, but you're also communicating with the Lord. And you start thinking, you're like, oh. And every time you read it, even though you've read it 5 times already, the 6th time you read it, you totally think about something else, or the Holy Spirit may help you communicate something else that's important to you. And so then you start, and then what I have transitioned to is not living for me, right? I'm living for the kingdom to make an impact on the world. And nothing, I don't really care about possessions anymore. I don't care, I just don't. I don't care about what I own. I don't care about anything other than trying to help other people, because I know that's the Great Commission, right? Is bring other people to to Christ and to help. And if I'm a jerk, if I'm not helping people, and if I'm sitting on the couch watching Netflix, I'm not doing what the Lord has me to do. So to find your purpose, read the Bible every day a little bit, and then even if you don't not comfortable with the Bible, just start on Proverbs, because it's really just simple life instructions. And then you start looking at those life instructions, and it's really healthy for you. And then you'll start having that, and then it may intrigue you a little bit more to say, okay, maybe I should read the book of John, right? You read the book of John. It's only a couple-hour read. You read that book, and then it gives you the whole history of the gospel, right? And then the Bible's so fascinating. You can spend literally decades researching it, but that's how I found purpose. So that's what I would recommend to others.
It's great, man. I mean, I love to say purpose is foundationally growth and service, right? Like really growing every day and being of service to others. And how we express that is going to be different for everyone. Like us, it's in health space. Some others, maybe it's in the wealth space, right?
That's right.
And
Everybody has their calling, right? That's what I love about this world is, your calling may be 100% different than others. And so that's okay. God made you uniquely different, and you are different, and you're wonderful, and he made you that way. And so just accept the way he did make you, and then just do the best you can with what he's given you, and just know that you're not over. Life is not over. You have breath in your lungs today, so he has a plan for you. So just start trying to figure out what that plan is and try to be a better human in this world, and he's going to bless you through that process.
yeah. And it could potentially change over time, but the foundation of growth and service, I don't believe it does.
No,
But
I
like,
agree. I mean, look at me, right? I was like, my life has changed dramatically and multiple times, and it's not by my choice, right? Things just end up happening, but guess what? I was just like, okay, I could have been just after the first one, could have just laid down and just given up, right? But
yeah.
that's not the way he wants you to live. He's given you a purpose. So yes, bad things are going to happen to you, but guess what? He's teaching you a lesson through all those processes. And I look back at my life, and he literally trained me to be the person I am today. He trained me as a youth to learn about nutrition and hard work, right? Running and doing that dedication for 10 years, running every single day and doing all the things I needed to do, working out 3 times a day. All those things were really important to me, having the dedication to being the person that I am today. Then boom, he stopped that journey. Then I went on to a different journey, and they taught me the research skill, right? That research skill just became foundational. I'm like, okay, what am I going to be researching? It's like, how can I help people in this world? And it became this health thing. It's like, if you'd have told me 5 years ago that I'm going to be talking about my faith on a podcast and talking about health on a podcast, it was 2 of the things that I understood the least. I was a software salesperson, right? I sold enterprise software for decades. I was great at it, and I loved technology, and it was like really fun. I was like, anybody talk to me about politics or talk to me about religion or talking to me about health, and I was like, no. And now it's just like he's given me this passion that I'm just so excited. It's like I'm learning, like you said, it's so fun to learn all this new stuff, and you can learn it, and then you can apply it, and you can help someone else with it. And when you start helping someone else, it's just so gratifying, because you're like, oh man, this is so neat. Because not only did it help me by doing the right things and learning how to help myself, but then you transition to start helping others, and it's so gratifying. Then you're just like, oh, hey, maybe this is what the Lord wants me to do. And it may be helping people. I'm doing health, right? You may be it's financial, right? You may be it's dog care, right? Who knows what it is that God has for you, but he does have a purpose for you. You can find it.
100%, man. So this has been awesome. We talked about your amazing story. We talked about a lot of cool things in the mindset space and thinking for yourself,
Yes.
how to be healthy, all these amazing things. Thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, just only maybe thing, if you are interested in this Exodus product, it's so fun because it's literally the capsules that you can take. Then you take them in the morning. It gives you the energy and the nutrients you need throughout the day and gives you sustained energy. And then we combine it with this prayer guide. This prayer guide is super important because literally it's got just an intention. You're declaring your intention. and you're doing it out loud. You're reading a Bible verse and you're saying a prayer. And you do that out loud because you're declaring it. The Bible tells us there's power in your tongue. So there is power. So declare life over your body and over your health issue. And then you read it, you using your eyes to read it, your ears to hear yourself say it, and your mouth to declare it. Then you use the capsule inside your body, and you're using 4 out of your 5 God-given senses to help you with your health. And the combination of that mind, body, spirit solution is something that nobody, no other country or company in the world that I know of is doing this mind, body, spirit solution in the fashion that we are. And we believe it's going to help a lot of people. So go to exodusstrong.com and check out what we're doing there. It's a fascinating product. And then really soon, in the next month, we'll have Biohackingville launched, and the podcast I'm interviewing guests already and getting those lined up, and the site will be up in probably about a month, and we're going to have an amazing resource availability for people. And Biohackingville is going to be a really awesome way to learn more about biohacking and the different areas of it, and learning about faith and how that is related to your health, and then learning just about ways to help others, right? Like integrative oncology is something I'm super passionate about. Cancer is killing so many people in this world, and that we're all affected by it in some way or another. We know somebody that we love, or some neighbor that has cancer, and cancer is going like through the roof. So integrative oncology is going to be a really important part of that message.
100%, man. I love what you do. You definitely got accurate information here. I mean, you know what you're talking about, and I appreciate you so much for coming on and sharing your insights with us.
Yeah, thank you, Anthony. It's been a blast.
Absolutely, man. Thank you.
All right, God bless.